Team, 2 changes from the last Clasico win 16 days ago. Andreas Christensen and Frankie de Jong are out injured. Marcos Alonso plays in central defence, and Frank Kessie, who got the winner in that league clash, is in from the start this time. Only 7 of this team started the weekend win, and a reminder that Dembele and Pedri are still out fairly long term in both cases, both missing, so a little bit unfamiliar really from what you might regard as the best Barcelona team they could put on the pitch. Still a good one though. Juan Martinez Munera is the referee. All smiles there. Won't last for long, I wouldn't think, not judging by the usual history of this fixture, but those two know each other very well, don't they? Sergio Busquets and Karim Benzema. The VAR team are ready to make their interceptions when necessary. There was a vital one in the last one, of course, that ruled out goal by Asensio in the league clash. Real Madrid, well, they have to win here tonight, so Rodrigo starts. That's an attacking move. He was only sub in that league game 16 days ago. Valverde goes to midfield. Camavinga will be at left back. David Alaba, who's missed the last 3 Clásicos, all lost by Real, starts, maybe crucially this time, facing his old Bayern Munich teammate Robert Lewandowski. Now there's a subplot for you.
Yes, they know each other very, very well, don't they? Of course, ex-teammates, and Real Madrid are really glad to have Alaba back. He's some sort of talisman for them, and they play better when he's in the team with this huge amount of experience. But there's lots of other subplots, isn't he, this evening? Of course, after the last league game, Real Madrid thought they were hard done by. There were certain things went on with Xavi bumping into players, knocking players on the floor, so Real Madrid had a moan about it in the local press, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any retribution tonight. Lots of little fantastic subplots for this evening.
Yeah, Benzema given 0 out of 10 by Marco, which is normally a bit of a publicist for Real Madrid, isn't it? So some little message being sent out there to the star striker. Barcelona leading by a 0-0 from the first leg. This is the second leg of the semi-final of the Copa del Rey. Osasuna are waiting in the final. They've reached the final for only the second time in their history. How do Real Madrid?
Because of the financial problems, so they moved him back to a younger player instead of a first-team player. So lots of problems for Barca, of course, as we know.
Balde here coming up from the back, and Xavi, opportunity straight away, just away by Camavinga, who got a vital foot there to get that ball away. Otherwise, Barcelona would have moved further ahead in the tie.
Yeah, lovely ball in. I don't know whether Ferran Torres offside. Let's have a look. Oh, no, he would have been onside. The right knee of Camavinga played him on, and he got struck lucky, really. Lovely ball in.
So close, and here comes the Barcelona corner to follow that. Busquets standing one up towards the back post. Araujo was in there. Little Xavi again, looking to cause more mischief. They're claiming a handball here, or at least Xavi isn't. The rest of the Barcelona players are joining in.
Yeah, referee said it hit his chesty, and it didn't hit his arm, but he was on the floor.
So straight away the VAR team, he's saying they made a very quick decision check over there.
Yeah, and the assistant has helped the referee out, which is exactly what he should be doing. Let's have a look here. Pulls it back, Xavi goes to ground. You can really tell that's the other side of his body, isn't it?
Yeah.
He certainly thinks it's his arm.
Yeah, there's no accident there. And there's no punishment either. It's one of those you think that in the 70th minute there might have been. Rafinha to Lewandowski here. Look pretty up for this, don't they, Barcelona? No question of sitting back. They're going for it themselves here early.
Yeah, Camavinga gives the ball away again and limps away. You see there, it turns into Rafinha. It's not a foul. He limps again at the end of the play, Camavinga, and he's gone right with the top to them. excellent footballer, isn't he, the goalkeeper?
Good pressure on the ball from Barcelona. Xavi to feed it wide, Balde back in again, and then Lewandowski blocked by Alaba on the way through, and in the end Courtois very happy to grab hold of that.
Yeah, they're looking 6s and 7s, don't they, Real Madrid? That has to be a booking. Yes, it is. First one of the day, Sergio Roberto pulling Luka Modric back, quite cynical. It is a yellow card, but yeah, Madrid need to liven up, because it's been all Barcelona for the first 9 minutes, 10 minutes. There's the first yellow card of the game.
In the 10th minute for Sergio Roberto. Trying to pull back Luka Modric. Tried to think better of it, but I think the damage was already done.
Yeah.
Carvajal with a knock. All this, of course, going on against the backdrop of Spain's performances in the European Championship qualifier, where they were, well, sensationally beaten, really, by Scotland.
The chance from Sergio Roberto again, but blocked by Alaba. Not a huge amount of pace on the ball.
Vinicius trying to turn that round the corner for Camavinga. Busquets, who was rested at the weekend when Barcelona hit 4 past Elche. Real had a 6-0 win themselves over Real Valladolid. Rodrigo getting involved here. Vinicius couldn't turn it in. It seemed he had to.
Oh, brilliant though. Brilliant defensively by Ronald Araujo. Gets his body across. Vinicius thought he was just getting a tap in. Really nice break from Madrid, all about pace. Rodrigo is quicker than Alonso, and then fizzes it into the far post, but look at the Uruguayan, gets his body across, uses his arm to get in front of Vinicius Jr. He could have easily have switched off, but he knew that he had to keep on going, and in the end it was brilliant defending. Vinicius Jr. misses it, doesn't he? Takes his eye off it, but that's probably because the defender has got his arm across him and he's putting him off.
It's a pretty end-to-end feel of this early on. Lewandowski. Kessie has won the ball there, the Ivorian. Switching the play to the ever-willing Balde. And the header from Rafinha is grabbed easily enough by Courtois. Chance.
Yeah, it was a chance. David Alaba missed it.
Vinicius, that's a lovely idea, isn't it? Ter Stegen had read it. Modric tried a volley, belted away by Koundé. Trying to build up a bit of a head of steam here. Real Madrid stretch this Barcelona defence, which has been mostly miserly this season. Rodrigo. Early ball in. Rodrigo had made that run and couldn't quite get his feet sorted out to get a touch on that.
Well, if it was onside, it was an incredible ball from Dani Carvajal. First time, pinged in. It was way onside, wasn't he? Way onside. What a ball that is. So close from Rodrigo. Much better from Madrid.
That's even lost in the mist of time somewhere. Here's Balde. He's quite a talent, isn't he? This young left back. Look at this. Balde on and on he goes. Eden Militao was able to stick out a foot and get it away, but he does look the most potent attacker for Barcelona, the left back. Modric here, the brakes on for Real Madrid if they're quick enough. Vinicius. Benzema up there with him.
Barca get a lot of players back though, don't they?
Vinicius with a little flick, trying to pick up Benzema's run, but like you said, there were a lot of those striped shirts in the way. Vinicius goes on though. Kroos. Benzema. He's capable of extraordinary things even from angles like that.
A nice ball in from Kroos. I think he was just trying to fizz it back across goal, but Ter Stegen anticipated it. I don't know whether this was a foul or Rafinha gets his body in the way. He just pushes him over. Vinicius Junior. Ball by Kroos. He's trying to fizz it back to Rodrigo. Ter Stegen's there.
Yes. Trying one through the eye of a needle. That one didn't quite work though. Benzema, now Vinicius, more central this time, looking to go past them all. Was that a hand off by Kessie? The referee was happy enough with it.
Yeah, it's fine, it was fine. He's actually had a good first half, Frank Kessie. He's been very strong in there, just uses his body very, very well just to knock Vinicius to the ground.
Best moment of his Barcelona career, that last-minute winner in the league game. Big goal that. Balde to play it in. Lewandowski! Great save. Fantastic save by Courtois, who was odds against, really. Xavi gets it away. But that was brilliant from the Real Madrid goalkeeper. And at the other end, there could be something for Real Madrid. Vinicius got Rodrigo one side, Benzema the other. Vinicius, massive chance. Stopped on the line, no, it's in! It crossed the line, I think, before Benzema got there. Doesn't matter who they give it to. Real Madrid are back level, back in business in this semi-final.
What 60 seconds of football we've just seen. For an amazing save from Thibaut Courtois to keep Real Madrid afloat. They whiz down the other end, and we think it'll be Vinicius Junior gets his goal. Great ball here from Vinny Junior to Benzema, who's very clever, puts it back on the plate outside the right foot. Koundé does his best. I think it is in.
It's in, isn't it?
And we think so. This might be give us a better angle. Koundé's back. Well, it doesn't matter anyway. If Benzema's stealing it, Benzema's stealing it. But Madrid with the counter-attack, lightning fast.
Benzema just made sure that there was no argument about it. But I think the technology would have said that had crossed the line already. That will be sorted out later. The big picture is Real Madrid have the lead and take it to 1-1 now on aggregate in the semi-final. And all that after a stupendous Courtois save at the other end.
Yeah, brilliant by Thibaut Courtois. Yes, Vinny Junior or Benzema will take the glory, but it actually should go right down the other end of the pitch. And Thibaut Courtois deserves all the plaudits with a wonderful save as he was going one way and had to dive back the other.
The tie tilts Real Madrid's way a little. It's a great... Carvajal. Kessie getting back. It's had a workmanlike game. Kessie getting the start tonight. Of course, there's still no Pedri. It's turning into quite a long absence for him. Dembele too. Modric now, Real Madrid. They've got them on the run at the moment. Benzema has made it two. No argument about that one. Karim Benzema strikes, and Real Madrid have turned this tie on its head. From being a goal down, they now lead 2-1 on aggregate.
Yeah, it was brilliant by Luka Modric. Bursts into the space. He knows that Sergio Roberto cannot touch him, cannot bring him down, because he's already had a yellow card. So he almost backs out of the challenge. The pitch opens up for Karim Benzema. All he needs is the pass. Modric delivers it to him on his plate. And the centre forward, who followed from his hat-trick the other day, bends it around it to Stegen into the back of the net. You see Modric bursts into the space. Sergio Roberto pulls out. Great run by Rodrigo to create the space. Koundé goes with him. And the pitch just opens up for Benzema. Brilliant from Modric, and it was a great finish from Benzema. You'll see from this angle, inside the right foot, curling away from Ter Stegen. Lovely goal from the Frenchman.
Masterful, wasn't it? Just past that in, out of the goalkeeper's reach. 21 for the season. His 14th goal in Clasico matches.
Oh, he knew as soon as he hit it that was going in the back of the net. Really good connection. Placed it exactly where he wanted it to go.
You could have heard a drop when that went in. Either side of half-time, the old 1-2 from Real Madrid. Balde looking to get Barcelona back into the argument. Carvajal got a block on it. Barcelona rattled. Balde to get the ball in, away by Camavinga, who looked early on in the game like he might have to go off. Kessie here. Did well. Balde's going to try, it's lucky, deflected, and still Courtois made a save. This time Rafinha to get it in, but that'll be harmless enough.
Yeah, another good save from Thibaut Courtois. I think it just came off Dani Carvajal. Good hit.
Courtois only ever kept 2 clean sheets in Clásicos in his time as the Real Madrid goalkeeper. He aims to make that 3 tonight, and if he does, Real Madrid will be in the final. Curled in, goes a long way. There was a little flick by Araujo, but not the flick he wanted.
That was a nice flick from him, actually. Nobody coming at the far post to have a tap in.
Barcelona unbeaten in this stadium since late October when Bayern Munich won here. Looking to get back in it. Rafinha. With his slightly weaker right foot, it maybe showed.
Yeah, also David Alaba does really well. He stays on his feet, shows him down to the right, almost says you can shoot because he's got trust in his goalkeeper.
Balde was able to cut it out. He's taken over as the number 1 left back now from Jordi Alba. Although Alba did play at the weekend. Away goes Rafinha again. That's quite a battle between him and Camavinga. It's Araujo on the ball now. He's decided he's going to try and go alone. Araujo got it back and pokes it goalwards. Well, that would have been some goal if Ronald Araujo, after all of that, had scored.
There was a collection of errors, first by him, then by the Real Madrid defence, and in the end he finishes off with some sort of toe poke, loses the ball there. And Camavinga and Kroos getting each other's way, and I think he just pulls it onto his right foot, then a toe poke. I don't know whether it comes off David Alaba and just goes wide. This will be a better angle here. Cuts inside, which is nice from the defender. Yeah, it does come off Alaba. He may have nestled in that far corner.
At the Bernabeu, that amazing Barcelona 4-0 win last season. Rodrigo now. That's a clever little pass, isn't it? Modric! Real Madrid are beginning to engage a higher gear here, ominously for Barcelona. They're looking a big threat. Camavinga.
Oh, penalty.
Yep.
Frank
Silly
Hessier
challenge.
and Vinicius Junior, Ian. And you're right, it was a silly challenge. He's going absolutely nowhere. Nowhere.
Well, this is turning into a horror story for Barcelona. Already 2 down on the night.
2 against 1. Oh, yes, it is. What an awful challenge. Not going anywhere, going away from goal, and he bites and stamps on his foot right in front of the referee. It is a penalty, I'm sorry.
Not many arguments either from the Barcelona players. Not very heartfelt ones anyway. Token protests. Look at Vinicius there. Chance here now for Benzema. to score a second on the night and maybe put this tie not out of reach of Barcelona, not yet, but it would be a very convincing lead. And he does exactly that. There wasn't ever any doubt, was there? Karim Benzema again. That's 5 in the last 2 matches.
Yeah, great hat-trick at the weekend. He'll be almost claiming the goal for Vinicius in the first half, another hat-trick, but anyway, he definitely got 2. For all the moving rounds of ter Stegen on the goal line, doesn't set himself, he's got absolutely no chance of saving it in the end. Benzema, cool as you like, steps up and smashes it to the goalkeeper's left.
3-0 to Real Madrid. Who'd have thought that in the middle of what was a tight first half?
I mean, incredible, isn't it? 42 minutes, it's 0-0. 15 minutes later, it's 3-0. That's what it is, and that's what happens.
Well, let's keep thinking. Let's keep our concentration, says Araujo to his teammates. But it's become quite a steep mountain that Barcelona are facing now. And that's another loose ball from Alonso. And they're going to add to the lead, are they here? No, somehow they don't. Rodrigo closing in. And Modric's ball. Well, how was that not a 4th goal?
How was it not a 4th goal completely? And to be very honest, to be critical of Luka Modric, he can't blame Rodrigo. He had to finish it himself.
Yeah, not his night, makes way. Alonso, that's not a surprise. He's the player to make way for Eric Garcia, the former Manchester City defender. Fati. First missed out, Xavi picked it up. Can they come up with something here? Barcelona. Lewandowski was there, Balde's shot was blocked. Torres was involved straight away in that move on the right-hand side. That's no play on, says the referee, an advantage. Would have been a free kick. No advantage accrued, though. It was a decent enough cross, but nobody had taken any kind of gamble that they might get there. Koundé was coming up from the back to deliver it.
Yeah, here's the chance. Just this big touch from Ferran Torres. That's a poor first touch. Cut the angle down. There was only one possibility, and that was to float it to the far post, where Militao just edges up.
In a good position in the tie with a 1-goal lead. They've let it come to this. Goes a long way in behind Eder Militao. The bounce wasn't kind to him, really. Asensio now. Koundé missed it, and Benzema missed it as well. There was the hat-trick chance.
Yeah, you can't believe it, Karim Benzema. His control was excellent. Koundé does miss it, he just slips. They get back into an onside position. You can see Benzema's onside. Koundé slips. Benzema control is excellent, and he just fires it wide. Doesn't go over, just fires it wide. Could have easily scored 4. Madrid could have added to their tally.
Xavi to play it down the line, but Camavinga's won the ball there.
Yeah, he's been excellent tonight, hasn't he, Ian Camavinga? First with Rafinha, now Ferran Torres. Been very strong, 77 minutes into the game.
Vinicius has spun in behind here into the gap. Real Madrid threatening again, and Asensio, and a really good save from ter Stegen, but Real Madrid could have had 5 by now.
Yeah, this notorious solid defence of Barcelona has fallen apart at the seams tonight. Good run by Benzema, moves the defenders out the way into Asensio, onto his favoured left foot, but good save from ter Stegen. It's kept them in the game.
Just about still in the game. Time is very much against Barcelona now, though. Tries to find Xavi, but Real Madrid are working very, very hard when they don't have the ball now. Real spring in their step, and there's so much room on the break. There's a chance almost with every break. Vinicius, Benzema, surely. Yep. And that is it. Game, set, match. 10 minutes to go. Benzema, another hat-trick. That's 2 in 2 games.
And what a hat-trick, Ian. What a hat-trick. And it was brilliant. Brilliant by Vinicius Jr. He got the first goal today. And he has put this on the proverbial plate for Karim Benzema for his hat-trick. Again, Madrid breaking up play, counter-attacking really quick. 3 against 2. Good run by Asensio. Great run. And look at that pass. Eric Garcia doesn't do enough. Vinicius just opens up his body, cuts inside onto his left foot, plays it, almost double hits it on from his right foot onto his left, puts in Benzema, and how cool is this? Just a little tiny dink over the legs of Ter Stegen for his hat-trick at 6 in 2 games. Brilliant from the big man. See that touch in, right, left,
yeah, beautiful.
Really quick.
And then the little dink at the end of it to make sure the goalkeeper didn't save it with his legs. That's 11 hat-tricks he's got for Real Madrid. Karim Benzema. Barcelona, there's no kind way of putting this, have just fallen apart in this game.
Yeah, the words capitulation spring to mind. You normally don't associate Barca or Xavi's Barca with a performance like this. But it has all gone wrong today, and they don't want to be shouting and screaming at the referee. They've done it all themselves, the players. They have not been good enough, particularly in this second half. Torn to shreds.
Some rueful faces among the Barcelona players. This is a big test, isn't it, of their character. It's I mean, the kindest thing you could say is a learning experience of a type, but really not the kind of lesson they would want, not at the hands of Real Madrid of all people.
Oh no. And the talk of Carlo Ancelotti's demise was greatly exaggerated, because he's now going to go to a Copa del Rey final. He's in the quarter-finals of the Champions League.